Our property taxes are through the roof. They've raised every tax across the board. Electricity's through the roof because there are failed energy policies, all about the Green Deal. People in New Jersey are not going to go for another 4 years of Phil Murphy's failed policies.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy is so unpopular at the moment. The blue state now prefers President Trump. A new poll shows Garden State voters giving a higher approval rating to the president over their own governor. A good chunk of residents lay skyrocketing energy bills and high taxes at the feet of Governor Murphy, which could be a boost for Republican Jack Ciattarelli in next month's election. Okay, New Jersey politics. Lydia, you are a New Jersey resident, I do believe.
I am.
How do you read this?
I think that the fact that President Trump is polling better than Governor Murphy is good for Jack Ciattarelli. I also think that it doesn't say a whole lot, though, because Governor Murphy is really not appreciated across the Garden State with the tax status. I think this race is going to be close. It's going to be one to really watch. Jack Ciattarelli, the Republican candidate, came within striking distance last time, short just 3 points. So we'll see. I think the polls have been
much
kind of
closer than the polling showed leading up to that, right?
Right,
That's kind of
exactly.
the key.
Now I think the margin is a bit wider. It's been wavering. I've been seeing an 8 or 9 point difference between Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat candidate, and Jack Ciattarelli. Now, the taxes issue is real. It's property taxes, and it's also what I call really a dishonesty in how we talk about our taxes in the state. My example of that is something that's called the mansion tax that we've had since the 1990s, that is a tax on the sale of your property. In the 1990s, it was set at $1 million. You would start paying a tax of 1%, and it stepped up. And this year, they increased the tax, which is insane. Because $1 million now, they did not adjust it for inflation, but everyone knows who lives in the area, $1 million is not the sale of a mansion in New Jersey. It is a standard home for a working class family. So my example is just to call it a mansion tax, or we're going to continue to call this the mansion tax by Democrats, and we're going to, Governor Murphy, you're going to go ahead and continue to sign on to this. It's just spitting in the face of all of your residents who are struggling to afford to buy a home here. Just call it a tax. Just call it what it is. You're going to tax all of your residents to death until they all want to leave and move somewhere else.
That doesn't work so well politically, to call it that.
If you're the one who
came up with it.
But people are starting to see through it, which is my reason. I think people see through this, and that's going to work to Jack Ciattarelli's
So they see
benefit.
through it, Jackie, but it's still awfully close. Like, they're not overwhelmingly seeing through it.
No, they're not. But I have more hope for New Jersey than I do for New York. And maybe Mamdani winning in the city will push a Republican governor in New York for Stefanik to be able to win that race. But we shall wait and see. Just looking back historically at New Jersey prior to Phil Murphy, remember that you had Chris Christie. Before that, you had 4 Democrat governors, including John Corzine and Jim McGreevey, 2 of the notable names. But before that, you had 4 others, leading back to Christine Todd Whitman in 1994. So I think there's potential in New Jersey in that they see the light and they understand political issues, economic issues. Energy is a huge issue right now. We scratched the surface on that yesterday. Some of Cheryl's proposals are absolutely idiotic, and that's putting it nicely. Freezing rates at the highest that they've been in some time is not how you cure the problem. It's policy around it that will bring rates down, but she doesn't have any policy around it. She wants to continue investing in renewables and all of these kind of, as I said, idiotic proposals that have taken these rates up. So if New Jersey voters are smart, and they are smart, and they do go to the polls, they will make a decision this time around. And like you said, the margin last time was so close. But you know what? The stakes are so much higher right now. And people see what happens when you have a President Trump in versus a Joe Biden, and your gas prices come down, and how that feels. We are suffering from these higher electricity prices in blue states because at the helm, the governors, like Phil Murphy, like Kathy Hochul, they won't do what they need to do to bring those prices down.
Can I want to tell a story. So a friend of mine working in a very old school industry got laid off recently, and she said, "Oh, we're immediately selling our house and leaving New Jersey." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because we pay $100,000 in property taxes every year."
Crazy.
And I said, "Oh my goodness."
Say what?
$100,000. And it's not, to your point, it's not the world's biggest mansion, okay? It's a nice house, but it's not a mansion. And we were out in New Jersey doing a real estate story recently. The people we were talking to, serendipitously, we weren't planning on this, they were selling their home because the mansion mansion tax. They were trying to get ahead of one of those deadlines where they were raising the tax. Look, here's the situation in New Jersey and why people are so upset. The state's corporate tax rate is the highest in the country at 11.5%. Top income tax rate hits at a $1 million in earnings, 10.75%. The Tax Foundation says this is the second worst state in the country in terms of taxes. Think about that.
New Jersey, think about that when you go to the polls. We'll leave it there.
And
Coming up-
anybody shopping for a house.
And
okay?
shopping for a house. Mansion tax, family dwelling tax, I'd call it.